When projecting sketched text onto a face, the most obvious approach would be to try to project the entire sketch. For this, we would go to Insert, Curve, Projected. And under the Projective Curve options, choose to project a sketch onto face. As I make my selections, notice there's no preview, thus we can immediately assume something's wrong. If we continue and click the green check, SOLIDWORKS displays a rebuild error and tells us that we cannot create a projected curve with a sketch containing multiple closed profiles. But what does this mean? Well, in our case, each letter is considered a separate closed profile. In fact, some letters have more than one closed profile, such as the O's, I's, and D's. If you really wanted to use a projection method, you could, but you would have to separate each loop into its own sketch, then separately project each one, a very tedious process. I want to show you a much quicker approach to do this. Instead of using a projected curve, we'll be using an intersection split line. Now, as the name implies, an intersection split line is defined by intersecting bodies or surfaces. So first, I'll begin by extruding the text. The extrusion will be towards the cylinder, creating intersecting bodies. When defining the extrusion, I want to point out a very crucial step. Since we want two bodies to be intersecting, we must make sure the Merge Result checkbox is deselected. I'll demonstrate what this does in a little bit. For now, I'll simply leave this unchecked and click the green check to add the feature. Now at this point, let's turn to the Feature Manager tree. Under the Solid Bodies folder, we find the cylinder as well as each letter listed as a separate part body. This is the result of leaving the Merge Result checkbox unselected and is a prerequisite for having intersecting bodies. Finally, now that we're working with separate bodies, it's time to add an intersection split line. To add an intersection split line, I'll go to Insert, Curve, and select Split Line. For the type of split, I'll select Intersection and move on to the selection windows. For the splitting bodies, we want to select the intersecting bodies, in this case each letter. When making your selections, I recommend using the Solid Bodies folder found under the Feature Manager tree. This method ensures we're selecting whole bodies and not just faces. For the faces or bodies to split, I'll select the cylinder. And since the preview looks fine, I'll click OK to add the split line. To better see what I just did, let me go ahead and hide the extruded bodies. There's something I want to point out. Notice that the text is displayed on both sides. If you recall, the text extrusion initially crossed the whole cylinder, intersecting both sides. To fix this, and only display the front portion, we can go back and edit the Extrude feature, and make sure it only intersects the cylindrical face once. I recommend using an up-to-surface end condition. That way, if the size of the cylinder decreases, the extrusion will adjust accordingly. Keep in mind that this is just one alternative to creating a text projection, and that SOLIDWORKS offers a variety of features that could have also been used. For example, you might consider using the Wrap feature instead. The details of the Wrap feature are more than I can cover here, but feel free to search our Ask Solid Professor archive or look for it in the SOLIDWORKS help file.